Good morning.
Good morning. I think did we do the millennial pause? Was that I don't when it says recording in process, I do we'll have to rewatch it to
Yeah.
see
Well, I
if
think that was longer than the millennial pause because like I was like clicking stuff and it looked like you were clicking stuff too. So
yeah.
I think that
I
counts
think
as beyond the millennial
yeah,
pause.
that's the live stream pause, which I will say, and
Yeah.
I don't blame anybody, but like when if it's a real live stream, I don't mind it. But when you watch if you ever watch a recording of a live stream and they're like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
give me a minute. Yep,
Right.
we're just waiting for people to show up.
I know they can just edit that out. Come on. It's
Yeah,
like,
just cut that. No one needs. I like you so much, but I don't need like.
yeah,
Yep, yep, yep. We're just waiting for the lobby to fill up. Yeah, I'm gonna let it in the lobby in a second. It's terrible. It's terrible.
exactly.
Like that is the millennial pause. I'll give them a. I'll take a breath, take a second. I'll
Yeah.
stand by it. But
I still don't think there's anything wrong with that. I
no,
don't know what the big deal is with that. It's just a way for the younger generation to make fun of what is becoming the older generation.
well, that's great. I mean, I love that.
Yeah.
I love the younger generation, and I kind of want to be like, yeah, dude, we're
Yeah.
super cringe. The only thing, okay. Hi, Andrew.
Good morning, Brandon. Hello, Brandon.
Hello. Yeah, let's start that timer. I do want to.
Start the time.
I want to old man talk for like 2 seconds. We're gonna talk about a real thing, but I want it on
Okay.
Yonko record. I I like Gen Z. I think they have a lot of they're thinking. They're doing
Yeah.
interesting stuff. A little bit. If you're a lefty little soy boy like me, you're kind of like, please, Obi-Wan, please save us. Oh my God, please save me. We tried. We tried.
Oh
Millennium.
yeah, yeah.
It did not work. Uh,
No, I mean like I mean, I'm a teacher, so obviously like now, well, okay. I was about to say that I love the younger generation, but you know what? Actually, you know what? I shouldn't even go here. Let's go to a new topic. Okay.
this is recording, dude. You gotta.
I
That's
know.
amazing. That's an amazing Yonko thing. You're like, dude, it's recording. I'm gonna say something wild. Like, well, we're gonna put it out. No. Here's the thing. I'm gonna make a complaint about the younger generation. I'm gonna make one complaint.
All right, go for it.
It's not a complaint. I think do what you want to do. Who cares what this fucking old head says? Do what you want to do. Who cares? We're gonna talk about your music for a second. And I know that's a usual complaint. A lot of your music, it rules. It's weird. It's loud. I'm vibing. I love it. I
Uh-huh.
love that fifth wave emo is just second wave emo. Heck yeah, fellas.
Uh-huh.
Here's the problem. You're gonna look back and all this stuff with nursery rhymes in it. It's gonna look real. That's real cringe. It's I'm saying this from the outside, and I'm saying this for you. Anytime it's a rock song and someone's like A B C, little lamb, I'm gonna punch you in your ham. It doesn't. Sorry, baby. Sorry, baby.
Well,
Um,
especially, I mean, you come from, yeah, I mean, you have a pretty well-versed knowledge of like rap and
terrible.
lyrics,
Yes,
and
yes. I'm
music,
not saying rap is
so
terrible music, but when I grew up, as someone who was a devoted Limp Bizkit fan and still kind of has they have a charm for me.
yeah.
I don't know how to sit you down and be like, this is gonna be rough. This is a lot.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, like my son my son was listening to Limp Bizkit and he was like the way he viewed it was like what he said to me. So do you know the epic rap battles of history?
Wait, what?
Epic rap battles of history?
Yes, now I understand. But yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm losing my voice, so
Okay, yeah. You
okay.
just repeat it. It's okay. You can repeat yourself. I don't mind.
So yeah, is there a millennial repeat? Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Um, so basically like we were listening to it and I was like, are you're listening to this? Like you enjoy this? And he was like, yeah, I think it's funny in the way that epic rap battles of history are funny. So like
I mean,
I thought that observation was actually really good.
yes, and I think that is like up to and including. I think if you were to ask most members of Limp Bizkit, and you were like, it's sort of like epic rap battles of history. I think they would have to concur. Like,
Yeah.
I think they'd have to be like, yeah, like when they did, I think it was Coachella, and they did a performance, and it wasn't absolutely terrible, and everyone went, "Well, good job, Limp Bizkit. That was fun." I think the members of Limp Bizkit, and you will catch me talking about Limp Bizkit, have a weird conundrum that
Mhm.
only the members of Limp Bizkit know, and that is they are the members of Limp Bizkit. Like no one else in the world knows what it's other than
Yeah.
John Otto, Sam Rivers, Fred Durst, Wes Borland, and DJ Lethal.
I
Those
I Well, first of all, I can't believe you know all their names. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then that's like a weird, that's an upsetting party trick that there's stuff in my brain that has just gone forever. But
Yeah.
like all five members of Limp Bizkit is something I can do. And the all five original members of Limp Bizkit I can do all the time. And Wes Borland's brother played keys for a little bit on some recordings. And
Oh my
then
God.
who is it?
You
Matt.
got like history of Limp Bizkit here.
The dude from Snot did the. You ever get like an idea, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about today. Never let me go on a podcast and say I don't know what I'm going to talk about, because at any moment I could be like, and then Limp Bizkit said, but like whatever. Only like 7 people have ever been in Limp Bizkit, right? And like they all know what it's like to be in this band that was meteoric and then crashed and then sort of became became the punchline faster than almost any other band. I think this is kind of true for Nickelback too. I like to be on
Yeah.
this podcast and I'd like to formally apologize for Nickelback. Your music is fine. I don't like it, but it's not hurting anybody. I
Yeah.
understand that it was overplayed, but that wasn't your fault, Nickelback. We were far too mean to you,
Yeah.
Nickelback.
Well, here's the thing I would say about what you were saying about Limp Bizkit. Like as a performer, like there have been like these incredible moments where like the audience is just like so into it, and like you're like there's these amazing magical moments where like the performer and the audience are just on the same wavelength, and like you got the energy, everyone's hyped up, everyone is just feels good. And to be honest, like I can imagine that being a pretty amazing feeling, like being Limp Bizkit on stage and like having just the whole crowd like into it. I mean,
It's
that's got to be an amazing feeling.
having the whole crowd be into Limp Bizkit in that moment. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
because I mean, it really is just like big party music. I mean, like it's like fist pumping, party moshing music.
here's the other thing that's weird about Limp Bizkit. This is the Limp Bizkit episode. This is our second Limp Bizkit episode. I want to
It
point out
this is true.
this is Limp Bizkit part for Limp Bizkit Redux. Limp Bizkit again.
I
Uh,
can't I had no idea this is the direction we were going this
I
morning.
knew
This is
so
great.
you had an idea, and then you started talking. You said Limp Bizkit. Both my ears went, oh, hello. Uh, so the weird thing about Limp Bizkit and Fred Durst, right? Fred Durst, fascinating person, in the fact that he is kind of presents himself, and he's doing sort of an older head thing now. And that's fine, but in the day, presented himself as uh this big, like sort of a lunk of a meathead, right? That is
Mhm.
the shtick that Fred Durst is. Oh man! And then like halfway through the album, if you listen to it, most Limp Bizkit songs are mostly about Fred Durst being sad and like no one really understanding what it's like to be Fred Durst, and like that, and like I'm actually like a poet, you just don't know it, and like that. The word poet, to know it, is Fred Durst energy. Like
Mhm.
I am a poet. You just don't know it. I am Fred Durst. Like that is the
Mhm.
whole energy of him. The cat's so disgusted with the Limp Bizkit talk. She's walking away. Let me let her out.
I know she can't even take it.
So there might be a mouse in this house. I got work to do, dude. So you had a subject you wanted to talk about before the Limp Bizkit hour started again?
Well, no, I guess we can certainly relate it to it, but the thing that I was going to talk about was like last night. So I can't I don't know if I said it at the beginning of the podcast, but I'm kind of sick, kind of woke up pretty sick this morning. And last night I was having like all these like chills and fever dreams and stuff like that. And at some point I had the dream like that we were doing the podcast. And and the way that I started the podcast was I was telling you about like I had this choice between keeping the room warm and then keeping myself uh warm under the covers like with like a sweater or something like that. So so that was the dream I had about doing this podcast and what I was telling you about. Like,
So so this podcast is Dreams of Limp Bizkit,
mhm,
Limp Bizkit Part 2. So there is a question I have. Like this dream is this podcast prompt is prompted by a dream. How was the podcast? Did it go well?
In the dream? Oh yeah, it was great. We had an amazing conversation about like keeping the room warm.
I mean,
So,
I'm for. I think I want to be a man who says put a blanket on. Like I want to be
mhm,
that person. I really do. But I don't know if I am always strong enough for that, especially when I am sick. Like I
mhm,
believe I believe like I have a real put a sweater on attitude. Like we need to
yeah,
save the environment, save some dollars by not getting heat. But
yeah.
boy, man, a toasty house, I'm not better than it.
Mhm.
I understand that there's a lot of problems with air conditioning, but have you ever walked into a cold movie theater? Is there like that rules?
It does. Well, and I think that sort of like gets to the heart of like, whenever we're trying to, do things like that, there's always the personal comfort level that kind of comes into play, and like where do you balance that? And which obviously like is that's why it's so hard to make sweeping global changes, is because, people got needs,
Yeah, well, and creature comforts, and a lot of times, what we're working on is at such a small. Like one of the big lies that we found out when we were getting older is how little we could actually change things. Like, and
Mhm.
it's not like our little changes don't change anything, but sometimes it's like spitting into the ocean. Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And I understand, but if you got to start somewhere,
Yeah, yeah.
dream, Andrew. So I see the necessity for it, and I will say, getting under those covers once you get that warmed up, you that is always something you like. You can do that when the power's out. If the power goes out, you
Yeah.
can warm yourself up. So if you get, one of the things that's probably the hardest, and it's about learning because learning's harder than I think we'll ever admit. Sorry, dude who teaches. Uh, but like it kind of hurts. Like learning is kind of it's not painful. It's
Mhm.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think maybe learning to be under a blanket, that's part of dealing with that uncomfort. Is like the outside is keeping your
Mhm.
room warm. Is this I What if you woke up from the dream right now and you're like, I'm still in a dream?
Yeah. I mean, I'm waiting to. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
it
It's
is.
like a dream within a dream. Do you remember years ago? Um, I wrote this song. It's so Edgar Allan Poe has a poem called "A Dream Within a Dream."
Yeah.
And do you remember the song that I wrote? I mean, it's been years. I'm sure you don't
I
remember,
don't. I
but
don't. Also, that's
yeah.
an anagram for what am I, a mind reader?
For what?
A dream within a dream
Yeah.
is you rearrange the letters. It also says, "What am I, a mind reader?"
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess not an anagram. Yeah, anagram.
Yeah.
Anagram.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I just never heard that before. So that's amazing. Yeah.
yeah. This is one of our more surreal. I would like to point out right now that you can put. I hope someone puts David Lynch book music underneath all of this particular episode. There was last week, which is the Brandon is hungover episode, and then this week is because Andrew's kind of sick and things have gotten very strange.
They have, yeah. I mean, do people actually enjoy listening to this kind of stuff? I guess.
I think they do. I
Yeah.
like listening to it. Someone you need to fall asleep to something. Why not this? I
Yeah.
think that's
I'm okay with that. Yeah. That's
that's the
totally
new
fine.
selling point of the podcast. Well, listen, we're going to sometimes talk about art, and there's things to pick apart as to people who are working artists and all the weirdness that makes
Yeah.
them feel. And then sometimes it just kind of drifts around in strange conversations, and you can probably take a nap to it. Probably there's enough of these you can sort of put them in a line and just
Yeah.
kind of read them down, listen to them down.
The soothing voices of Brandon and Andrew.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
fall asleep to my own voice because I like
Mhm.
it so much. I think that's probably part of doing art is liking your voice so much that you end up falling asleep to your own voice. I'm not better than it.
I'm definitely not better than that, I would say.
Yeah. So, what do you think your favorite Limp Bizkit song is?
Um, uh, I mean, I don't think I have the deep track knowledge that you do.
You don't need to have a deep track
Yeah.
knowledge. I assume you're going to pick a surface level thing. It's like asking what your
Yeah.
favorite Beatles song is. It's identical to asking what your favorite Beatles song is. If you pick Help,
Yeah.
that's not proving you're a lesser person. You don't have to pick deep track Beatles to say you like the Beatles.
Yeah.
So, Andrew, what's your favorite Limp Bizkit song?
Well, I think for the sheer audacity of it, I mean, I'm gonna go with Nookie. I mean,
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, I can't help it. I mean, so here's the reason why though.
Uh-huh.
Like it came out at a very specific time in my life. And I guess I mean that was when they first like hit it big, right? Was that
No, well, technically, it's their first like it's their first media. It's their second. It's their first song, the first single off their second album, and it's the
okay?
big one. Faith is
Yeah,
like had some buzz, but wasn't as big. Nookie was huge.
yeah. So it came out at a very specific time, like in my life. Like I had just graduated college,
Mm,
and I was spending the summer like working for actually it was for the maintenance department at the college that I was at, and we were painting this hallway and doing all kinds of a lot of painting around the building and like doing various maintenance things. And the whole time we were listening to this radio station, WHSF, H yeah WHSF,
I love
that
it.
was in Baltimore.
Uh huh.
Yeah, which isn't around anymore, but at that time that was the alternative station.
Yeah.
And so we were listening to WHSF the entire summer, and they would play the same, like basically 20 or
Yeah.
25 songs on repeat.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that was one of the songs that I heard just over and over and over. And I mean, so I have that memory of it.
So basically, were you playing classical guitar at the time?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you would play classical guitar and be like, "That's great," and then you would just be like, and you'd be like, "Yeah,
Well, it's also because like so at that time, like after I graduated, I mean, I had that was my undergraduate, and so I had like 4 years of really intense classical, and so it was like that summer was just like listening to WHSF. you
just
know, it was
cathartic,
like yeah, like let's forget about classical for a second.
brilliant
Yeah,
idiocy," and we made it, dude. That's
yeah,
that's that's the wildest podcast we've done. That's the
it is.
second wildest podcast we've done after the Lemire one.
But what you just said, the idiocy, like that's what it was. It was like okay, I've had 4 years of its classical intensity, and like now I just need to like veg, you know. So
Yeah, it's a good cheeseburger. That's all I'm saying.
yeah,
Then we did
we
it.
made it. We made it to the end.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we always make it to the end.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna make it to the end. Do you hear that alarm quietly going off in the background?
I was like leaning in.
It's been going off. I didn't know my alarm will go off for 15 minutes straight. It went off like 2 minutes into this podcast, and it's been going off the entire time. I desperately, I
Yeah,
need to go turn it off.
I might
Bye.
hear on the replay. Peace.